Hello, hello. My name is Adrienne, and welcome to another episode of A Better World with Adrienne, the podcast. I am a healer, I'm a shaman, I'm a guide, I'm a teacher, I'm a breathwork facilitator, I'm an astrologer, and most importantly, this is a place where you get to heal, you get to up-level your life, and you get to expand, grow, and receive as the new earth leader you are. So I'm very excited about today's podcast, and this is a new experiment for me because it's the first time I'm doing video with the podcast. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see what happens in this space and what video has to offer this community. So this episode is deeply, deeply, deeply important. And it's one of those things where it's like, I start channeling and I don't fully know what the title is going to be yet. So basically, this title, How to Close the Self-Trust Gap, or How to Build Self-Trust, this has come up in small pieces in other episodes on the podcast, and I really felt the urge that, this gets to be an episode all on its own. Because why? Because it's something that I went through in my spiritual journey. I still go through at different points, at different edges of my expansion. At every single turn is trusting myself when I'm on my edge, trusting myself when I'm going through something new, trusting myself when I'm doing something other people don't understand, like deep, deep, deep self-trust. And I've noticed it's a huge thing for my clients. I've noticed it's a huge thing for my potential clients, because they're like, I feel a deep soul desire from people, and then I also simultaneously feel from those same people, they don't trust their soul's desire. And so we're going to get into why that is, but this is huge. Why does this matter? Okay. This matters because this is one of the most foundational things for all leaders, is to trust yourself. And so we're going to get into why people don't trust themselves. We're going to go into what I call the self-trust gap and the loop from hell that it creates. And then I'm going to share with you some ways to move through this. I have a 4-step framework for us. So let's begin first with connecting, and I'm going to share what's on the altar today. So the cool thing about video is I can show you. So first on the altar, I have my purple stone here that's been guiding me ever since San Diego, Shea Butte, and she's guiding me. She's also giving me major Empress card vibes, like super, super, super Empress card vibes. And I also just want to share, like, whether you're experiencing this in the video or experiencing this on the podcast without video, which, I mean, the episode before this was the power of digital detox, and I spoke on that episode about how I'm really like figuring out what the best medium is that I want to share these transmissions, because something that I love about the podcast is not needing a screen. Me not needing to be on a screen, and then also you not needing to be on a screen, being able to be on a walk in the sunshine, driving your car, like doing a workout, all of those things. So yes, this is new to me as well, and I'm excited about it, and we'll see what happens. So I have this beautiful purple stone. I have my pink rose quartz for unconditional love. I have my inner child Ganesha that has the diamond third eye. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. I have my golden pyrite. I have my clear quartz crystal to purify. At the moment of this recording, we're in a deep purification with the final moments of Pisces season before we begin the new astrological year. So it's a very, very potent, exciting time, and we're being purified. So it's all about, like, I am calling forward purification into this space. And then I have two brand new crystals that I was guided to yesterday. And so I'm going through a major spiritual awakening, rebirth, reorganization, like all of these things. And I walked into a crystal shop in my neighborhood and I had an impromptu healing with the owner, which I did not expect. And it was, my guides actually told me I was going to go the day before, but my guide said, no, wait and go the next day. And now I know why. And so then we had this impromptu healing and I was guided to this green opal. So I am moving through some heartbreak and some grief. Like I can literally feel it in my heart. And I just know for myself and for the collective, like as we move forward in leading a new earth, like there will be heartbreak and there will be grief. Because why? Because not everybody's going to come with us, because not everybody's going to understand, because we're going to see deep, dark truths of the world that get to be healed. And so this is for the heart chakra. I was guided to this stone. And so I have it for us all today, that may this be a healing transmission for everyone's, grief or heartbreak or anything that needs healing in your heart chakra. And then finally, shout out to my bookkeeper and soul sister, fellow New Earth leader, who was featured on the podcast in the episode New Earth Economy. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. Jacqueline Holmes. She inspired me through, she's doing something called Emerald Abundance. And I was guided to this Amazonite malachite crystal, and it sparkles, and it literally, when I look at it, it looks like a new earth. It looks like a new earth. I also have 2 white unscented candles for us. So we have the stage set. We have all of these energies, roadblocks being removed, clarity, love, healing, purity, wealth, and new earth vibes. So to begin, no matter where you are, gently close your eyes and know that this podcast is different than other podcasts. It is a transmission of healing and growth and love and codes from your highest self, the ancient wisdom that we all get to remember to bring our creations to life. Why? Because they matter. Why? Because your soul gets to live your dreams. And because when we all do that, we quilt them together to weave the fabric of a better humanity. So to begin, empty out completely your breath. Inhale through the nose. Holding at the top, open your third eye to visions, to insights, to knowings. Open your crown chakra to your guides, circling around you, protecting you. Open your crown chakra to divine insights, divine downloads, and invite the divine white light to radiate over your whole entire being, blessing this transmission. Exhale out the mouth. One more like that. Inhale through the nose. This time purifying anything you were thinking about, ruminating on, past, the future. Let it all go and be here now. Exhale out the mouth. And finally, one more inhale through the nose. Holding it at the top, bring a color to your mind's eye, a color that you're drawn to, inspired by, and imagine it guiding this transmission. And within this ball of colored light that you chose, place your intention. Why did you press play? Why are you here? Why do you care about a better world? And exhale out the mouth. Gently open your eyes. Come back to this time and this space. And let's begin. So, diving into today's topic, how to build self-trust, closing the self-trust gap. This is a foundational life skill and embodiment for leading a new earth. And there's something that I really want to lean into is that we cannot lead a new earth if we do not first lead ourselves, okay? So trusting yourself is huge. Trust, especially as a leader. If you think about the definition of leadership, you're going first, you're blazing a new path. If you think about the cardinal signs in the zodiac, so Capricorn, Libra, Aries, Cancer, these are all the cardinal signs. They go first, they blaze a new trail. That's what new earth leaders are. So your ability to trust yourself is fundamental. It's way more important than a lot of other smaller things that people get hung up on. It just comes down to, do you trust yourself or not? And so this is something that's been a huge part of my journey. And I'm so excited to share this transmission because I know it's going to help so many people, because it helped me. And I help people do this on the daily. It's huge. And P.S., like, I'm doing a lot of new shit in my business, and it's just trusting my ideas, trusting my intuition again and again and again, especially when it doesn't make sense to my mind, especially when it doesn't make logical sense or isn't relevant, which relevant is a low-key word of the matrix. So shout out to that one. So here's the definition of what I call the self-trust gap, okay? And closing this gap will change your whole fucking life. It will change your personal life. It will change your professional life. It will change your life as a leader. Why? Because it's fundamentally changing, altering, and leveling up your relationship with you, which is the bedrock to everything in your life. It's the common denominator. So a lot of people look outside themselves when they want to change something. And it's like, hey, what's the common denominator literally all the time? Oh, it's you, it's me, it's all of us. We are all the common denominator in our own lives. And so we must first go within. We cannot expect to change the world if we're not willing to change ourselves, okay? So my definition of the self-trust gap is when what you know and how you live do not align, when they don't match. So one common example I use for this is health, all right? And I talked about this, and this is a whole other podcast, is like physical health and manifestation. People know that eating healthy will make them healthier. People know that working out will make them feel better. People know that drinking water, more water, is going to make them feel better. And yet, how many people actually follow through in doing that? Not that many, actually, which honestly, to me, that shocked me to my core because I've just been, I mean, if you're new to the podcast, this is new information for you, but if you've been around for a while, like, I was raised by musicians and farmers, and I think being raised by farmers, like, you eat food from the earth. So like, that was just a part of our lives. Like, we didn't have like Little Debbie or any of that stuff in our house. And so I found it very, like, honestly disturbing and alarming when I got older, and I was like, wait, people know that like doing ABCD will make them healthier. Why don't they do it? And so we're going to get into why, but this is the self-trust gap. Okay. It's an inner discord. It's an inner disharmony that people create over and over and over and over and over and over and over in their lives because they know something and then they don't live in alignment with it. I say this all the time. Knowing something and living it are two different things. Knowing something and acting on it are two different things. Knowing something and being the embodiment of it are two different things. So what happens is, it's just like if someone tells you, hey, let's meet up, and then they don't show up a few times, right? You start to not believe them. You start to not trust them. You don't believe them when they say they're going to be there. That's what you're creating inside yourself. So this is the self-trust gap. You know you should work. I don't love the word should, but there are definitely things that are required for certain results. So people want to be healthy. They say they're going to work out. They don't work out. And so they have this loop and they break trust with themselves. So they literally, like, if you just think about it like a relationship you have with someone else as well, I feel like that's easier to like learn that way. You're constantly, daily, all day long, breaking trust with yourself. Oh, I know I want to be healthier. I ate those 3 cupcakes. Oh, I know I want to be off my phone more. I scrolled on Instagram for 3 hours instead of working on my business or reaching out to like 3 people to share my vision. Oh, I know that meditation will help me, but I just, I didn't feel like it today. Like, all of that stuff is low vibration, and it's breaking your self-trust. It's creating a deep self-trust gap, a deep inner discord, a deep misalignment, a deep disharmony in your soul. You're literally grating against your soul because you're like, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. And if this is you, if you resonate with this, like, you're not alone. This is super, super common. However, that doesn't mean it's okay. And something about this podcast and what I do is I work with powerful leaders. And one of the bedrocks of leadership and of anything in life is taking full responsibility for every single part of your life. It doesn't matter if it's your fault. It doesn't matter. Really, like, nothing really matters besides like, hey, you are responsible for all parts of your life. Even something like COVID, like, were you responsible for creating the pandemic? Hell no. Were we all responsible for how we move through it? Hell to the yes, baby. So this is the biggest problem and block I see in the collective and for leaders at different levels, right? At different levels. Because there's some people that are like, boom, I know what to do in business and I fucking do it. Boom, alignment. I trust myself. But then in their personal relationships, then in their personal health, then in like their spiritual life, they don't do it. So it's like, there's different layers and levels. So what happened? And then once there's this self-trust gap, then this thing happens that I call a loop from hell. So you know what to do, and then you don't do it. And then you stop trusting yourself. You stop believing yourself. And then the way you live, the way you actually live, not the way you want to live, not the way you aspire to live, the way you actually live becomes something that you yourself don't even respect. So then not only do you not trust yourself, you don't respect yourself or the way you're living. And that's when self-worth goes down. That's when self-love goes down. So you can see how slippery of a slope this self-trust gap is and how deeply important it is for all of us as leaders. And so this really is, I get like so fired up about it because it's so common and it's such a huge block, like immensely. So the self-trust gap, how to build self-trust. So now we've identified the issue, right? We've identified the growth area. Now I'm going to move through, okay, how to close the self-trust gap, how to build the self-trust. Because if you pressed play on this, you pressed play because you saw the title and you're like, yes, I want to trust myself more. And raise your hand if you want to trust yourself more. Me. Hey, I'm human too. Yes, literally everything I teach on is shit that I've moved through deeply. First, because I believe that like our own personal story holds the keys to our most potent medicine. And I don't believe in teaching shit that I haven't embodied. So if I hadn't gone on a deep journey with building self-trust, is it in integrity for me to sit here teaching about it? No, I don't believe it is. And that's a whole nother podcast about integrity in leadership in a new earth, because Pluto's going to enter Aquarius. There's going to be charlatans everywhere. There's going to be people masquerading as leaders and light workers everywhere when they're actually living the agenda of the matrix, whether they realize it consciously or not. So that's a whole other thing. So here is my 4-step framework for building your self-trust. So closing that self-trust gap. If you are living in a state where you have a self-trust gap, I want you to take a deep breath and exhale out. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You are loved. You are worthy. You are here. And now your greatest act of self-love is to take steps to close this gap, is to take steps to build that self-trust. And so today I literally have a 4-step ladder that you get to climb on. And it's more like a 4-step circle because it's a circular way of being in life. Okay, and the first one is digital detox, baby. Why? Because we cannot hear ourselves if we are constantly inundated with noise, notifications, programming from the matrix. Like, a lot of reason why people don't trust themselves is because they don't even know themselves. Okay? And so we cannot get to know ourselves if we are chronically distracted, chronically scrolling, chronically like being programmed and advertised and messaged to. Digital detox. Turn off your fucking phone. Be in silence. Go back to my previous episode, The Power of Digital Detox, okay? This I honestly did not reach full clarity as this for the first step until I was contemplating this framework like for maybe 3 weeks. And I was like, nobody will get to the other steps until they're alone with themselves and they get to know themselves. So this is the first one, digital detox. We gotta unplug. We must unplug from the matrix and plug into source. Unplug from the noise, plug into our higher self. It's required. Otherwise, you're not going to know your truth at all. So the first step is digital detox. Get quiet. Get quiet, get quiet, get quiet, and build it into your life as a pillar for greatness. Okay? And shameless plug, I now have an offering called one-on-one immersion days where I lead people through digital detox. We talk about habits. We talk about systems to support your life for greatness. And we do breath work and astrology. And so sign up through the link below if you want a custom deep dive in this. Like, this is so deeply important, and it's going to become even more important as the matrix grips as we move forward in a new earth. So the first step in building self-trust is unplug from all the notifications and be alone with you so you can hear your own voice. Second step, integrity cleanse. Okay, so this is one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my whole life, and it was inspired by Byron Katie. So if you don't know Byron Katie, she's a thought leader. She's a change maker in spirituality, in just like living an authentic life. I'd say she's a spiritual leader. She has this thing called the work, where it's a framework of really observing your thoughts and like rerouting your thoughts and everything. And I mean, I've been meditating every day for over 10 years. Like, I'm all about like command of the mind and thoughts. However, what I've learned through breath work and nervous system healing is that, you know, this is 5%. Your mind is 5%. Your body is 95% of it. So I learned this from Byron Katie, and I called it an integrity cleanse. It's wildly, wildly, wildly uncomfortable, and it will change your fucking life. So you set a timer on your phone for certain increments throughout the day. I've done it for 20-minute increments throughout the day, and it goes off, and you ask yourself this one question. And the question is, where am I lying? Where am I lying? It's a confrontational question. It's a deep question. And so this builds self-trust because you notice where you're out of alignment and you snap back in. So I've done things like commit to going to a dinner, commit to doing some family thing, and people pleasing and all that, and hesitating and not honoring my inner voice, because again, there's that self-trust gap. I know I know the truth, and then I don't do the truth. Boom. That's why people pleasing happens. That's why hesitation happens. That's why I don't trust myself, because I consistently have not been trustworthy up to that point. So the integrity cleanse, where am I lying? So I've committed to like dinner plans, and then my timer goes off. Beep, 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 beep. Where are you lying? And I'm like, oh, fuck. I just lied and told that person I wanted to go to dinner when actually I don't. So what do? I call them back. I'm like, hey, you know, actually, I'm not coming to dinner. And then I snap back into alignment with me. Because what relationship matters the most out of anything in my whole life? My relationship with me and my relationship with Source. I have my own back. So that's what the integrity cleanse does. It's deeply, deeply uncomfortable because you likely will change a lot of your behaviors if you commit to it and do it 100%. And I recommend starting off with like a week, and then you're going to notice, for me, I really tune into my heart space and my body. Like, where am I lying? And then you start to live a life in alignment. You start to live a life that's yours, not other people's. And a life that's in alignment with your highest self. So the integrity cleanse. Ask that question. Where am I lying? And you could even be lying to yourself. Where am I lying? Oh, I'm telling myself that I'm being consistent with my health. However, I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks. I am lying. And likely you may be feeling uncomfortable during this podcast. Like I said, it's deeply, wildly uncomfortable. However, discomfort is where growth happens. Discomfort is where dreams are born. Discomfort is what we get to move through, what's required of us on our destiny path, okay? And so the third step in the framework, nervous system healing through what? Through breath work, okay? And why does this matter? Because this is so deeply uncomfortable. This is so deeply new that your nervous system will be activated, I guarantee you. And if you have yet to receive any of my transmissions about breath work, I have a whole podcast. It's called Channeling a Better World Through Breathwork and Nervous System Healing. The breathwork I facilitate is a deep, full body reset of the nervous system, and the nervous system controls 95% of our decisions. It's also known as the subconscious mind, and its one job is to keep us safe. So when something is different, our nervous system decides it's unsafe. Or if it could be something in your life, like times in your life before when you've spoken the truth, spoken your truth, or done something different than the status quo and been reprimanded for it. The cells of your body remember that, and it goes, woo, danger, 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 danger. And then it blocks you because it convinces you at a cellular level that you're about to die. Okay? This is why nervous system healing matters. This is why breathwork is a need, not a want, for all new earth leaders. Because you're daring to be different, and we are wired for safety. And your nervous system is going to choose your safety over your happiness every single time. And what happens to many people, especially in this framework, like the integrity cleanse and the digital detox, those are uncomfortable. However, they're not unsafe. So until we have a regulated nervous system where we release our lived experience, the stuff living in our bloodline, stuff from our past lives, we will never follow through on closing the self-trust gap. And why do I recommend healing the nervous system through breathwork? Because breathwork in itself builds unshakable self-trust. Why? Because you're not outsourcing your healing to psychedelics, which, shout out to psychedelics. They have a deep, deep purpose. They really do. However, I don't think they build self-trust. I really don't. I think self-trust is built in breath work. Why? Because you have the gas pedal and the brake. You show yourself with every single fucking breath that you show up for you, that you have your own back, that even when it's hard, you keep breathing, that even when you're feeling all the feels, you keep breathing. And then you are your own healer and you create your own breakthrough. That's why breathwork builds unshakable self-trust, and it unlocks the 95% of you that makes all your decisions, so you can close the self-trust gap, so you can act on what you know, so you can live in integrity and stop lying to yourself, to others, to God source energy, like all of these things. So that's the third step in the framework. Like, you're building a new groove. So it's going to be new. It's going to be shaky. It's going to be uncertain. Uncertainty is just another word for anything can happen. Uncertainty is just another way of saying your wildest dreams are possible. So people keep saying, we're living in uncertain times. We're living in uncertain times. We're living in uncertain times. I'm like, yeah, bitch, thank fucking God. Uncertainty means anything can happen, including a new earth. So we must heal, reset, regulate, and expand our nervous systems to hold this on a regular basis. So that's the third step in the framework. And then the fourth step for closing the self-trust gap, how to build self-trust, is intuition. Intuition is a relationship with you. Okay. And it's very, very, very personal. So we started out with a digital detox where we get really quiet and get to know yourself again. Then we go into the integrity cleanse and you ask yourself consistently for at least a week to begin, where am I lying? Where am I lying? Where am I lying? And then you take action on snapping back into alignment. And then nervous system healing through breath work. And then the fourth thing, intuition. So intuition is a way of life and it's a skill set. And for me, when I first started exploring intuition, I had no fucking idea what I was doing because first of all, my nervous system was so jacked. Like breath work will help and heal that. Your breakthrough is inevitable when you continue with breath work. It truly is. I have yet to see that not be the case. So intuition is an experiment when you first start out, and then you start to know what it feels like to you. So what I've learned as a healer, as a human, as a shaman, as a breathwork facilitator, as a guide, what I've learned about intuition is that intuition is presented as a quiet knowing, and fear is presented as a frantic panic, like loud message. And for each person, it shows up differently in their body. And so I invite you to let your body be your guide for intuition. Because your mind will tell you a tall tale all the time. So let your body lead, and you are going to figure out, and this is just another layer of deep self-trust, is you will figure out how intuition shows up for you. For me, everything occurs in my heart space, honestly. And if it's like a quiet knowing, or like so my intuition, I asked for a yes or a no, and a yes feels very, very calm in my heart. It just feels peaceful. And then a no is like a little like tinge in my heart. And it doesn't have to be a big tinge. It's either a yes or a no. A maybe is a no. So then you go on the fourth part of the framework for building self-trust and closing the self-trust gap is really being in this state of exploration and the process and the journey of discovering what it is, what intuition is to you. And then you test it and you're in the game and you go in the flow. And then when you're right about things, you build self-trust and then you gain momentum and it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes. So that is the last part of the framework. So just to recap, the self-trust gap is the gap that occurs when what you know and how you live do not match. And closing this gap is deeply required because when you don't, first of all, when you don't trust yourself, there's no way you're manifesting dreams or your contribution to a new earth. And just at a personal level, if you don't trust yourself, then you're not able to live daring. You're not able to love. You're not able to be courageous. Like, if you don't trust your own self, then you start to not respect the way you live. Then you don't respect yourself. Then your self-worth goes down. Then your love goes down. So all of it gets to stop. And today I'm so grateful to share with you this 4-step framework into closing it. So whew, that was juicy. I feel fiery. I feel alive. I feel excited. And yeah, I would love. Tell me what landed for you in this episode. Like, did it resonate? And, what stuck out to you? Which part of the framework do you feel like is going to help you the most? Which part of the framework scares the shit out of you the most? I have an idea. I feel like it's the integrity cleanse. Although I think many people may freak out about the digital detox too. So that is today's transmission. And I really invite you into just this as a self-love journey. Building your self-trust and closing the self-trust gap is a journey of love for yourself and a journey of love for the world. You are worthy of a life of full alignment. And it's on the other side of closing this gap. So I have a couple invitations for you. I've already shared one. So if you desire to go deeper into this work, I have the one-on-one immersion days, and those days are a digital detox. We will do breath work. Like, I'm going to channel astrology and shamanism for you. We're going to talk about habits. Like, a lot of trusting yourself is a habit that you will create once you close the gap. However, I guide you on how to leverage your astrology for it. I guide you in just deep emotional space. And then there's 2 weeks of Voxer support after the day to integrate. So if you're interested in that, book one through the link below. There's spots open for April 2023. So snag one if you want to get one at the beginning of the new astrological new year. If you are interested in simply diving into breath work with me, you can book a one-on-one intro breathwork session or a big 3 breathwork session. That will give you a taste into the nervous system healing that I keep talking about and won't shut up about literally ever, because it continues to exponentially heal me and my clients. And we're all leaders and we all get to, this is about creating cellular safety for us. In a world that constantly is poking at us to stay small and scared, we use breath work to create our own safety, to create our own potential. So it's deeply, deeply powerful. And then lastly, if you want to roll with me for 3 months, 6 months, a year, I am accepting applications for one-on-one mentorship. So this is all of the magic of my work, but it's the highest touch, highest, deepest transformation container that I offer. So that is available for you as well. And you can apply for one-on-one mentorship through the link in the show notes. And yeah. Ooh, this feels good. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth. I invite you to tune in to where in your life you're being called to develop more self-trust, knowing that your inner essence has all the wisdom you need, knowing that you are one of a kind, that you are unique, that you are guided, that you are a child of the stars, and that your soul chose to come to earth right here, right now, to be part of the change, to make a contribution to a better world, simply by being the real you and shining your true light. And you can trust your light. You can trust your ideas. You can trust your gifts. So where are you being called to close the self-trust gap? Where are you being called to build more self-trust? And will you have the courage to act on it, to make different decisions than you have in the past? I challenge you, I encourage you, I invite you, I call you, like the sacred warrior you are, to cut through any old patterns and know that today is a beautiful day to start again. Remember that you are an important part of a better world, that you are worthy, that your ideas matter, that you are whole, that you are loved, that your creations can only be created by you, and the world needs you. And you know who else needs you? You do. So go out there, be the change, be the light, commit right here, right now to building deep self-trust with you. Love yourself deeply, smile more, laugh more. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.